2 home runs and 2 wins in a row for the App State Mountaineers baseball team versus UMass Lowell. During his inauguration speech, President Trump noted how many young people supported him during the election. And for many of the young students here on a cold App State campus, it was their first time voting in a presidential election. So we got to speak to a few students randomly to hear their thoughts on the ceremony. Even though the Earth has a whole month dedicated to celebrating it, taking care of it should never take a day off. Wherever you are, make sure to pick up after yourself and others. If you were to get into an accident with wildlife on the road, one of the things you can expect to do is find a place that can fix the damage on your car. So here at the Modern Collision Center of Boone, I'm going to find out more on how these accidents happen and how they fix it. Along with price increases on King Street, changes are also being made for game day parking. For places like the Depot Street lot, the King Street lot, and the Queen Street lot, the maximum time limit for parking is decreasing from 9 hours to 2 hours. History made at a historic track as Polly Hartwig III becomes the youngest winner in Smart Modified history at a place known as the birthplace of the NASCAR stars. Every year during the fall season, wild animals cross public roads at much higher rates, and the number of car accidents increase drastically. This is especially the case in the high country. To learn more about the wildlife behavior, I got to speak to Ron Sutherland, who is the chief scientist for the Wildlands Network.
It's called the rut, the mating season for deer, and they're really active, and they cross roads, and they don't look the way they're going, and it just causes a lot of crashes. There's actually a couple reasons. We just ended daylight savings time. You know, people are driving at dusk more right as the deer are going crazy and crossing the road all the time. And it's not just deer, like other species like black bear are pretty active this time of year. Slightly different reasons. The bear are just trying to eat all the food they can before they hibernate.
If you were to get into an accident with wildlife on the road, one of the things you can expect to do is find a place that can fix the damage on your car. So here at the Modern Collision Center of Boone, I'm going to find out more on how these accidents happen and how they fix it.
We see a big increase this time of year in the number of deer hits on back roads, 421, all over. And we this time of year it starts picking up tremendously.
When customers call the center regarding wildlife accidents, the common saying is that it happens out of nowhere and they had no chance to stop.
Front bumper, grill is damaged. Of course, the headlight, fog light's a possibility. The fenders has damage, so we would disassemble it to see if there's any additional damage. Once we get it apart, then we can tell you exactly what all we had.
A shocking statistic found by researchers in Virginia found that for every accident involving wild animals, 7 or 8 more are not reported. This means that there are possibly more than 1 million wildlife accidents that happen nationally every year. Anytime that you are driving during this season, always pay attention, not just to the road, but to the sides of the road as well.
It does affect our businesses when we have customers who come in and half of their group can't even find a place to park. So, they'll either have to leave or they'll park in a place that they can't and they get booted or towed. So it does cause some issues for us.
Finding an open parking spot on King Street can be difficult, and now the price of parking on pay stations has slightly increased from $1 an hour to $1.50 an hour. The recent change has caused some trouble for both residents and businesses.
We'll have customers come into the back of our area, they'll park in our employee spaces, and then we have to be responsible for calling towing or booting. We don't want to ever do that. I'm just trying to look for a spot in downtown, which it should be an easier thing for them. So a lot of the times those people will just leave. We don't make business from that.
To learn more about the increase in parking prices, I went to the town hall and spoke with Lainey Wise, who is the communication specialist for the town of Boone.
We know that there's a, parking issue in downtown Boone, so our Boone Town Council is trying to find ways to increase the parking stock without increasing taxation. So one of the ways is to increase the meter rates by 50 cents more and use those funds to be able to start looking at smaller additional parking opportunities and start hopefully being able to fund a parking deck. It's going to take a little bit, but we're working on it.
Along with price increases on King Street, changes are also being made for game day parking. For places like the Depot Street lot, the King Street lot, and the Queen Street lot, the maximum time limit for parking is decreasing from 9 hours to 2 hours.
So a lot of people would park there, taking up space for people who would like to visit the downtown Boone businesses. So this decision was made with those businesses in mind, keeping it 2 hours to allow for people to come and shop in downtown.
People come in, they want to sit for 3 or 4 hours at a bar, but I can understand the little revenue tax raising prices, but just however the town wants to do it is a college town.
I think that it just can be an inconvenience to those where it's like just a little extra, but that can make a difference for somebody, and in the convenience of being downtown and parking around here.
So there's no time frame for the parking deck. Before we even think about getting a parking deck, we need to have at least some sort of funding in place. We can't just, fund a plan for a parking deck and then not have any way to fund it. And so there's no plan in place for a parking deck right now.
Mr. President, the last 4 years, there are times I'm sure you thought it was pretty dark. But look what God has done. We praise him and give him glory.
Powerful words from a prominent Boone, North Carolina leader, Franklin Graham. His Samaritan's Purse Christian organization is at the forefront of helping those in need in the wake of Hurricane Helene, something President Trump remarked about during his inauguration speech on Capitol Hill.
Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly.
Among the most talked about things from his first few days in office for his second term as president were the many executive orders that he signed.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
During his inauguration speech, President Trump noted how many young people supported him during the election. And for many of the young students here on a cold App State campus, it was their first time voting in a presidential election. So we got to speak to a few students randomly to hear their thoughts on the ceremony.
I think a lot of stuff he said is kind of sketchy.
I think things like renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America is kind of pointless.
I feel like he says stuff and then doesn't follow up with it. I feel like a lot of presidents do it.
It was stuff that had been said before, so I wasn't too surprised by anything, I suppose.
Hoping things do change up a little bit. It's a little rough out there. Prices are high in general, and I'm hoping some things can be done to lower that.
Well, I expect prices go down a little bit. I'm hoping the housing market goes down, so I'm hoping to buy a house here in the future.
I'm just hoping that promises are kept.
The golden age of America begins right now.
I think it's a beautiful place, and everybody should have the privilege to enjoy a clean outdoors.
With April being Earth Month, one of the ways that the Office of Sustainability celebrated was by inviting students to help clean up parts of campus.
There's a lot of litter around campus, especially post-hurricane, and we wanted to kind of lend a hand and help with the efforts that our facilities team has been doing. They work really hard. I think it's really important that everybody lends a hand.
I've always been around the area. My dad graduated from here, had a whole bunch of family who graduated from here. We would always come here when I was little, and I always just loved the area. I want to keep it clean and just keep it nice.
We all use the area. Every little bit helps as well, so it eases the burden of the work that facilities is doing.
And especially because I go here myself, I feel like I should help and take care of Boone and the surrounding areas.
They're saying there's lots of plastic bags that we picked up today and stuff like that, or cans and bottles. Maybe they'll try to use less plastic bags now or something like that, and then also just making that difference and keeping that waste out of the creek and other places on campus.
Even though the Earth has a whole month dedicated to celebrating it, taking care of it should never take a day off. Wherever you are, make sure to pick up after yourself and others.